Yo, 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 big aloha and welcome to Real Talk Hip Hop Hawaii. I'm your host, Jasun, and we're coming to you from Inside Out Universe Studios in Haiku, Maui. I got an extra special guest today. We got the legendary Triple OG, Bud Blast, up in the house.
What's up, man?
Chilltown Productions.
I'm officially here in your beautiful studio. This is a great place.
Oh yeah, it's great to have you, man.
Fantastic.
Definitely, we got the Triple OG.
So if a triple OG, if I'm already an OG, if a triple OG, how deep do I go, man? I got
that's
deep
like
roots.
The root. Yeah, that's the root, the square root of OG.
All right, I like that.
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, we got a legend in the building. Where do we start?
You tell me, man.
Yeah, let's just start at the beginning. Like, what got you into hip hop? What influenced you?
Sure.
What was the first thing you heard that kind of sparked your interest?
As a kid, I was kind of into music. I was more in the martial arts, and there was a moment in fifth grade where I met some kids. I grew up here in Hawaii, but I was living in Florida at the time, fifth grade, and I met some kids in school. And we were talking about music, and they brought up Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force. Right. And I had to sit down and be like, what did you just say? I've heard of the J. Giles Band, and I've heard of Pink Floyd and AC/DC, but Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force, what kind of science fiction stuff is this, right?
Yeah.
And I love science fiction. So they told me about this radio station, and they said, go check out this radio station. So I go home and I go through all the thing on the dial and I find the radio station. The first thing that came through the speakers was Planet Rock.
Oh shit!
And it just came boom, 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 and I was just like,
"What's this?"
I lost it, man. I must have just stood in front of this stereo and just was like, what is happening right now? Like, it's Star Wars is coming through these speakers and shooting my brain with laser beams right now. And I was flipping out. And that was the moment where I heard Planet Rock, and then I just kept listening to that radio station. And I must have listened to that radio station. Like I would take this little radio and put it in a little headphone in my ear and listen to it before I went to sleep. And I wake up and it would still be playing because I couldn't get enough. I was listening to The Message, and Curtis Blow was playing on that. And this was really early. We're talking 81.
Wow, yeah.
So Rappers Delight got played. They played the instrumental of Rappers Delight. They played Planet Rock. They played the instrumental of Planet Rock. And so when I heard that, I was just like, I don't know what this is, but I need to be a part of it.
Hell yeah.
And so shortly thereafter, literally 6 months afterwards, I moved back to Maui, and people are popping. And they're listening to Planet Rock. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys know about Planet Rock? That's tremendous. And they're like, oh, they didn't even know the name of the song. The people I talked to, they're like, oh, that's popping music. I'm like, that's Planet Rock from Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force, you know? And so from that moment on, I started trying to get my hands on equipment. There was no YouTube in 1982. There was no internet. Mm-hmm. So there really was no information in terms of how is this music possible? Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything about drum machines. And I didn't know the DJs were using turntables. I didn't know any of these things. I lived in Waihee. The things that people talked about was, football and surfing and hunting and things like that. And I'm going I need to be a DJ. I need to do this stuff. So I would go and buy, go to swap meet with my dad and go buy old home stereos. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with these things, but they used to have a turntable on the top. And on the front would have all the volume dials and a cassette deck. Mm-hmm. And so I would put the record on. I would record onto the cassette. And I would edit the record. I'd hold pause and I put on a different song and then let it go and let it record. So it sounded like I was mixing. Then I got a second one and I had no mixer. So I wired the speaker outputs together. Wow. And I ran them into an RCA jack and plugged them into my boombox and recorded it on my boombox. And because they would play at the same time, I would use the volume dials on the front. This one was down. I play this song, and then I get this next song and bring it up and bring the other one down. That's how
mixing and fading and stuff.
Yeah. And then when I got my first mixer, it was from Radio Shack, and it had Q. And I remember I put my headphones on. I was about to do a mix. I'm like, I got a mixer. And I'm like, what's this Q thing? And I hit it. And I was like, I can listen to the other song and it won't come out on the tape. That's incredible. And all this crazy, and I was discovering it and teaching myself all these things.
It's all brand new.
Yeah. And I didn't have any resources. And it wasn't like I could go and ask my dad, like, hey, how do you DJ?
Yeah,
Because
he's
he'd
like,
be
what's that?
What's that? Why do you keep buying records? You have enough already. That would be my dad's line all the time. But it was one of those things where I just kept on doing it, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just making tapes to take to the mall to play in my boombox, and hopefully somebody would be breakdancing to my mix. And that was it. And I just kept doing that and kept doing that and pushing and having everybody going, I don't know what you do. What are you doing? I said, I think this is how it's done. You know,
awesome.
You see a clip on TV and it would come and go. I couldn't record it, you know. So there'd be like a clip of a DJ. This is what a DJ does. And I'd be like, and then 2 seconds
Trying to
later.
memorize it in your mind. Take a picture.
I have mental pictures in my head of all these like clips. And then when the movies like B Street was about a DJ,
that's big,
I was glued to that movie. There's an older movie called Wild Style.
Yeah.
And at the end of Wild Style, DST, the DJ that scratched on Rocket by Herbie Hancock, does a routine with Good Times at the very end of the movie, and the cameraman just happened to get over to him, and he's just scratching the crap out of Good Times. And I saw how he held the record. I saw what he was doing with the fader, and I was like, okay, it's all coming together now. I see it, you know. And so, that was my first maybe 4 years of trying to figure it out. And
that's awesome.
I mean, I wish I had Google.
Yeah.
How do you scratch? You know, and then,
that's kind of the magic of it, though, was like really discovering it and like pioneering it and like just not knowing what you're doing and discovering it and learning everything as you're going.
As I went,
That's awesome.
Yeah, and as I got older, I met other DJs that played parties, and nobody was really doing it on Maui. Nobody was doing it like in a hip hop style. They weren't doing like, you know, throw your hands in the air on the microphone, and nobody was really scratching. And whenever I would see a DJ, I would go and talk to them and try and ask them, like, how you do? And it'd be like, get away. It was very secretive. Nobody wanted to share anything, any information or teach anybody. It was a very
elitist kind of,
yeah. So I didn't get any, there was nobody that could mentor me or anything. So it was pretty much I was on my own. But I think at a young age, it was my first, like, I was passionate about martial arts, but I was more passionate about hip hop. And it was my first, as a 13, 14-year-old, my first, this is what passion feels like. And this and you want to do it all the time, and you don't want to stop until you're the best at it. You know what I mean? And it was my first feeling of that heat, that feeling in your chest, like, you know, this is fire, man. Like, I love this feeling. And kept, you know, pushing and striving to make that happen.
That's what's up.
I could talk forever, man. I'm sorry. I cut myself up.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I was just listening. I bet everybody else is too. But so how many years have you been DJing?
I count it from my first paid event.
Word.
So I've been DJing right now. 2015, I've been DJing for 29 years.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
So,
big ups to that. Congratulations.
There's more on top of that, but then, you know, I figure I'll start from when I got paid.
That's a good starting point.
Because I was
but there's
playing,
definitely a lot of work before that, too.
Yeah, there was a lot of work before that, and I didn't want to.
For sure.
Right, and I didn't want to get out there and go, give me money for this, until I felt like I was good enough to deserve that money. So, yeah.
You definitely deserve it. When was Chilltown Productions created?
A couple years after that, I got my business license, and my dad came to me and he said, okay, I can't stop you from doing this DJ thing. I don't understand what you're doing. You're making a lot of noise. And is this something you really want to do? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I think I can make something out of this.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid already. I was working 2 jobs after school. And on the weekend, I'd be doing like a gig every weekend.
That's what's up.
And I was like, yeah, I think I can do this, you know? Sure. And he goes, okay, I'm going to co-sign a loan for you. And I'll give you 3 choices. Put a down payment to college, down payment for a car, or you can use it to buy equipment. And I don't know if he was testing me or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to use it to buy equipment. Like, I've got brochures stacked up. I've been looking at speakers.
I know my dream catalog, right?
Exactly. I mean, I was using belt drive turntables and my Radio Shack mixer at the time. And so I'm like, I'm going to get this mixer. I'm going to get these Technique turntables. I'm going to get these subs.
All marked in the catalog.
Oh, I got circled and all set, man. I had to go. There was like one professional audio store. There was Bounty, but there was another one Kamikaze, and I went to them, got the brochures, talked to the guy, and I did my homework, man. Every DJ on the island was running JBL. And I'm like, if I'm going to get this gear, I can't be running JBL. Everybody's running JBL. And so I like the way the PV speakers look with the big horn on the top and stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to buy PV speakers, and then I look different than everybody else, right? So right after I signed my loan, got my business license. I was a junior in high school. Got my business license, and at the time, I was working with an MC in Maui High. His name was Adam. He's in Sacramento. He's in Oregon now.
Word.
And still making music and everything.
That's what's up. Awesome.
But he and I sat down, and we're like, if we're going to do this, making music, DJing parties, we need a name for what we're doing and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, cool. So we just wrote down a bunch of stuff, and it was sort of like we had our own little area because hip-hop wasn't that popular. Mm-hmm. So we felt like we were our own little city. So I was like, well, town, and, you know, it didn't want to be like Hype Town or something like that because we were kind of chill guys. Mm-hmm. So I put the two words together. It was like Chill Town, and it didn't look right as two separate words. So when I put them together as one word, I was like, okay, that's right there. And so we agreed upon that, and that's what I used to get my business license at that moment. Little did I know, 29 years later, I'd still be using that for a business license. But that was it was just kind of like, it was just a bunch of dancers, a bunch of MCs. There were two other DJs, and we all just kind of was trying to make some noise, make some hip-hop here because there was nothing. And I would go, I swear to you, this is the truth. I would be DJing, this is the late 80s. And, you know, people call me, oh, yeah, we want you to come do our prom. All right, cool. And they'd be like, yeah, but you're the hip-hop guy. And I'm like, yeah? Well, we don't want any of that rap stuff. This is 88, 89, right? So, I mean, you don't want any rap stuff. All right, so I won't play Push It. You know, I won't play Me So Horny. I won't play, you know, Shake It by Shy D. Oh, no, we want that. Well, what are you talking about, right? So people like, I was pigeonholed at that moment, business-wise, where teenagers were telling me they didn't want hip-hop at their dances.
That's crazy.
You know, Miami bass, you know, that was cool, but they didn't. What they were trying to say is that they didn't want no Run DMC, they didn't want Rakim, they didn't want Public Enemy or Tribe Called Quest or anything like that played at their dances. That's what they were trying. I knew what they were saying, but I was messing with them. Like, you know, the Shy D's rapping when he's singing Shake It, right? You know, but and then fast forward. I know I'm jumping the gun, but fast forward another 5 years, early 90s, and I got really into electronic music at that time. And same people, the kids would call me, and they'd be like, well, don't play any of that techno stuff.
That's funny.
So, yeah, but that was the beginning of that Chill Town. It was just a bunch of friends, man.
That's what's up.
And we were just, you know, we got a drum machine, and, you know, it was just trying to make some, with a 4-track cassette. That's trying to make some music, yeah.
Yeah, that's how legacies are made right there. Started and made. Yeah. That's awesome. It's still going strong.
Still going, yeah. I still make music. I still DJ. I still do clubs. I still do parties and events and things like that. Mm-hmm. I wish that I had more time to make music. Mm-hmm. I feel like, for me, like, DJing is great. I love it. I still love it after 29 years. But making music is like a different hemisphere in the brain. And I love that so much, too. Like, there are times where I feel like, okay, I could never DJ another party in my life. I could just make music for the rest of my life, and I'd be happy. But because the DJ thing is where the money's made, sometimes all of my energy's over there. And then by the time I've done all these gigs and I've done all the bookings and the office work,
much left for that.
Then I look at my studio, which is, I have my office computers, and then right behind me I have my studio set up with my keyboards and all of my equipment. And I'll turn around and look at it and be like, oh, not today, guys. Like, and I wish I had more time to make music and more people to make music with, but sometimes it doesn't balance out. But yeah, I started making music shortly thereafter. So that was it. Pretty much, the DJ thing was about 6 years, and then the music thing kind of picked up. And it came from Push It, actually. Nice. I started making music because of Push It. That came out by Salt and Pepper. Yeah. Song came out, and I remember this clearly. We went. That's right. And so I had friends with keyboards. I had friends with equipment friends that played guitar, musician friends.
Yeah.
And we sat down. We were at a assembly at Baldwin. We sat down in the auditorium, and I remember looking at my friends that all played music, and I looked at them and I said, "Guys, did you hear that Push It song?" And everybody's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "That was so simple. That is the most simple like keyboard line ever. We can do something like that, you know." And they're all like, "You think?" You know. And so I got them all over at my house, in my room, and I put like 4 keyboards. I wired them all to my DJ mixer and the drum machines, and we made a song right there.
That's awesome.
And I wasn't able to mix them, so I had this guy doing a bass part, this guy doing one lead, another guy doing another lead, and so I was like a conductor. So while we were recording, I was like, okay, bass line now, okay, second lead now, okay, stop, okay, go, and that's how we recorded the track. And I wish I still had that track, but I guess could kind of sound like Push It, but we were just kind of like, can we do something like that?
Yeah.
You know, is it possible? A bunch of guys on Maui in an apartment bedroom with Radio Shack gear. Can that happen? And it did, and we did it. And I was like, at that moment, I was like, okay, this is fun.
There's a lot of potential.
It has a lot, but getting everybody lined up in a schedule was like impossible.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I just need to buy my own gear at this point, you know. But yeah, that's how I started making music around the same time.
Who were some of the first artists that you were making music for?
It would have been Adam.
Did he have an MC name?
Yeah, at the time in the 80s, he was known as Wiz Key.
Word.
Wiz Key. And then when he went to the mainland, he became Taurus.
Word.
And then he's got a couple other different names as well.
Nice.
Yeah, you can look him up. He's very prolific. He does all sorts of different projects. He's still making music. But basically, I was the hip-hop guy at Baldwin. And he was the hip-hop guy at Maui High.
Word.
So whenever I was out and about, people were all like, hey, did you meet the hip-hop guy in Maui High? And I'm like, there's a hip-hop guy in Maui High? And people were telling him the same thing. There's a hip-hop guy at Baldwin. And I swear to you, we're like the only guys. Like, that's it. So when I drove to Maui High and walked around the campus looking for him until I found him. And I was like, hey.
Let's hang out.
Let's hang out, man. Yeah. We have something in common. Yeah. So I started recording him. Really, I'm not talking like super, like literally no sequencer, just a drum machine. And then I would have a sampler on my DJ mixer, and I would just trigger samples and then record them into the 4-track and then go back and then add some scratching to it. And it was super simple and super fun. But
classic. Though.
Yeah, we made probably about 5 or 6 songs and then went out and performed them. We performed at Brown Bags of Stardom, and we performed at the schools with these tracks that I made in my bedroom with a drum machine and the 4-track.
That's awesome.
And it was a lot of fun. He left 91 or something like that. And then I met Hev B. Wild, who was another kid at Maui High. And then Raji is another kid, right? And Raji was like a freshman he's a little kid when I met him, right?
He's going to be on the show soon, too.
Oh, great. Raji's so awesome, so talented, man.
Definitely.
And yeah, so I was kind of like in this position where I was like in the middle of this Nexus, and anybody who like wanted to rap or DJ in that style were kind of just magnetizing towards me.
Just sucked into the vortex.
Yeah, so I was just like, yeah, let's work together. You know how to rap? Come on, let's work together. Like, because there was so little of us. In the 90s, it kind of grew, and there were more and more people that were interested in it. And then there were more guys. There was like Robert Suaku started producing here on the island, and later did all of Raji's music. And there were other producers that started popping up, so I wasn't like the only one, the only lonely guy around and stuff. But then I met Boogaloo Buzz, who you had on your show. I started working with him.
Yeah, you guys have a long relationship.
Yeah. We have a lot of music under our belt, and
awesome.
a lot of growth. He's the kind of guy, though, if I was to play you something that we made like in the early 90s, he'd be like, don't play that for anybody. You know? Because he's a consummate like MC, and he's like, well, my rhymes are so much better now and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but those songs were great. But anyway, I don't know if they'll ever see light of day, but he performed a bunch of those songs around here. I don't know if he performed in Oahu, but I know we did a couple performances here.
Sick.
So, and when I make music for MCs, I meet them. I talk to them. I see their rhymes. I see where they're coming from. And I try and create a vibe that's just theirs. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, and this was early on. I started like, okay, this MC, I want him to sound like this. This MC, I want him to sound like this. And just trying to give everybody their own personality. And, of course, we live in a world of mega producers now, Timbaland and everything. And so when you hear Missy rapping, that's a Timbaland track. You hear Jay-Z rapping, you'll go, oh, that's a Timbaland track. And so he has his sound. And then everybody kind of comes to get that sound when they want that sound, which is great. But I'm the kind of guy, like, I don't make music. I don't have, like, 100 instrumentals. And then somebody comes into my studio and goes, well, let me hear what you got. And then they pick which instrumental they want. I start from scratch. And I listen to what they have, and maybe I'll get a basic thing going. And then I'll record them a couple of different ways. And then they'll come back for a second session. And before that second session, I would build the track around their vibe.
Nice. So it's more like their style.
Yeah, and so I'll be creating a world just for them musically that didn't sound like any other MC that I worked with. And for me, creatively, that's more fun.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
I'm giving that guy a personality music-wise.
And you're not doing the same thing over and over again. I think that's something that maybe the new generation lacks a little bit, is like a difference in style. Like there was like a lot more unique styles, I think, back in the day. And then now I think everybody's just trying to sound the same.
I think so, and it's corporate. You know, it went corporate in the '90s, and so and I try and tell people when I talk music with people, is in the '80s it felt like it Wild West. There were so many. There were major labels, but there were a lot of independent labels that got hits. Yeah, a lot of them maybe one-hit wonders, but there were a lot of people that were taking these kinds of chances that you just don't see in a corporate environment. Tribe Called Quest took a chance on jazz. Public Enemy, their music is indescribable. The kind of stuff the Bomb Squad made for them, it's certainly not radio friendly or commercial in any sense. It was cutting edge. And the thing with Public Enemy's music is that went on and inspired the Chemical Brothers and inspired Crystal Method and inspired the Prodigy and inspired all these other genres of music to grow out of that. And I've tried this. I've played Public Enemy for younger kids, and I say, what kind of music do you think this is? And before Chuck starts rapping, I just play the track. And they're like, hard rock? Because they've never heard hip-hop like that before. Like, how is that even possible? There's no guitars on it, but it's just like, it's so noisy, it's got to be hard rock. But there were so many guys taking chances in the 80s that when we came down to the 90s, what made the money was the gangster rap. You know, and then you had the underground, the beginning of the backpack hip-hop movement, the Far Side, the Freestyle Fellowship, the Tribe Called Quest, where you more low-key, groovy beats and things like that.
Jazzy and stuff.
And for me, I was like, well, where's the bombastic? Where's the noise? Where's the energy? Where's the power? You know, Dr. Dre with the Chronic, which was like, it's a legendary album, but he just took kind of funk riffs and replayed them in his studio to a guy who's really mellow and rapping on the funk riffs and stuff. But I was just like, okay, that's cool, man. But where's the, like, I want something
rocking.
I want something that breaks the doors down, you know? I want something that, like, cracks concrete, you know? That's where like, when I heard Planet Rock, that cracked concrete for me the first time I heard it. Yeah. First time I heard Public Enemy, I was just like, I love this. First time I heard Run DMC, man, that giant drum machine and stuff, that's cracking concrete.
Up in your face.
That's hip-hop to me.
Yeah.
That's a voice where you saying, before I even say something to you, this vehicle I'm riding is already blown through the door. Yeah. These drums are blowing through the door, and you go, what the hell is that? And now I'm saying something to you, and you're listening. When music is super mellow and thin, you know, like the current hip-hop, and I play it all the time because I'm a working DJ, it just sounds like music that would sound good on my phone. It sounds like ringtone music, you know? Like, okay, it sounds the same on my phone as it does on a big system. The big system just has more bass. But it's basically, it sounds the same thing. Yeah. I want something, it's distorting on my phone. My phone is melting because it can't handle the track. That's the kind of stuff I want. You know, like it sounds like crap in small speakers when you hear it in big speakers. Like your skin is melting away, you know? But that's the mentality that I have so when I approach music, I don't like knock, you know, it's not like all this crazy like stuff all the time. I bend it to the MC, but I make sure that it has an impact. So before the MC even starts, it's got your attention. what's happening here.
Oh, I like that.
But
Yeah,
that's just
we're gonna have to work on a track sometime.
anytime, man.
Yeah.
I'm deep in the psychology of it. I like the psychology of live hip hop. The psychology of live hip hop is so interesting to me that I'm not going to even put one sound to tape unless I'm thinking about what it's going to sound like on stage. I could care less what it sounds like on the radio. I could care less what it sounds like in your headphones. I want an MC to stand on stage and be so empowered by what's behind him that he comes off with his lyrics with confidence. I don't want something thin just floating behind him and he has to rock on top of that.
Yeah.
I tell MCs I want to give him a laser missile-guided laser tank to drive and stuff, when you run in, instead of just kind of coming on stage with a skateboard. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I like that.
Have you seen Run DMC live?
No, I haven't.
There's
Have you?
No, not personally, but I've seen them on footage.
Yeah, I've seen some footage.
Okay, so there's a documentary called The Show. Have you seen it? Mm-mm. You should watch that. It was filmed in the 90s, I think. And it was about a Philadelphia hip hop concert. It's called The Show, and Biggie's on it.
Nice.
Warren G is on it. Snoop Dogg's on it. Run DMC is the closers.
Sick.
And so, like Craig Mack comes on. He's doing Flavor in Your Ear, and the crowd is going nuts. And Craig Mack is killing it, and the energy is crazy. Cut to Warren G, and he's sing-songing his lyrics, and it's so mellow. And this Philadelphia audience, Philadelphia is going to sleep in the audience.
Wow.
But even when Puffy came out with Big on the show and Biggie's doing his track, the crowd was kind of meh. And they started throwing money at everybody and everybody started popping. But when Run DMC takes the stage, every eye was on them. And the energy, with just no music playing, no song, just them talking. It was the power of that speech, how they were saying it, the way they were saying it. So Runs goes, we got so many hits, I don't even know what song to do next. Crowd goes crazy. And then he looks at DMC and he goes, yo, man, what's that? And he goes, this is my black shirt. Mess with it, you get hurt. He goes, what's that? And he goes, my black belt. Mess with this, you get welts. And he goes, what the hell is those on your feet? And he goes, ma, jigga, 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 Adidas. And the beat comes in and the roof blew off the place. It was like they destroyed it. Just in that moment. And that's the kind of psychology that I love when it comes to live hip-hop. You're putting on a show. And the stage is, it's your stage. Make it your every inch, and you would captivate the audience with your words and your music and stuff.
Master of ceremony.
Yes. Yeah. And then I see like Drake take the stage and he looks like he's bored. And he's just kind of walking across the stage. And I'm looking at you, Drake. Come on, man. I saw Drake live in Vegas, and I was bored to death. It was more interesting for me to go and walk around and look at people and look at the speakers. I was examining what lights they were running.
Like the carpet was more interesting.
It was early in his career, and he had only done these little verses on songs. So it was literally like he would do his verse from the song, and then the DJ rewind. And he wasn't even doing whole songs. He was doing 30-second snippets, and that was his whole show.
That's crazy.
But I just wasn't...
He's like doing Degrassi songs.
This is big in Canada, guys. Yeah, I've seen Public Enemy live twice for Taste the Nation, A Million to Hold Us Back, and for Fear of a Black Planet.
Wow.
And I've seen
that's legendary.
Ice Cube live. I've seen Ice-T live.
Wow.
And it's just these things like, oh, that's a hip-hop show. Like, I've just seen a hip-hop show, And so when Drake was on stage, I was just like, none of your lyrics are even punching through the mix. Like, you've seen live hip-hop. And when a DJ knows what he's doing, he'll drop the track out on just the right line. Yeah. So the MC is a-cappelling a line. Like KRS is famous for this. And a-cappella that line, and then the beat would come back in on the one. And when that a-cappella, then when the beat comes back in, everybody's like, ooh, because that line was so dope.
Yeah.
Right?
And they can hear it.
So, right. Yeah. But where is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear that line. I want to hear you just kill it and give me some dope rhymes.
Yeah.
There are MCs that are out there today that are doing it.
Definitely.
Sure. But the average person, I could tell you for experience, to come out to a nightclub, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear conscious lyrics and stuff. They just want to hear the
Party rap.
booty this, booty that, supposed to be, whatever that's supposed to mean. But so for me as a hip hop guy, when I go out and work, I love what I do. But when I play hip hop, it's almost torture, because I'm a hip hop guy. I hear every lyric. I know how to listen to hip hop, and so I hear every lyric, every word.
Man, this is crazy.
And I hear it all, and I'm just like, oh, these verses are terrible. Like, and I'm looking at my crowd, and then the girls just say, blah 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 blah, booty, da, 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 ratchet, and they there's a word here and there that they catch, and I'm catching every single lyric, and I'm just like, oh, it's painful. It's painful, but then it motivates me to get in the studio and be like, oh man, I could put a hurt.
Make something,
like come on, man. That's my only, like, making music is my exhaust valve. If I get so frustrated with how hip hop is, it's like, oh, let me make some music, and then I feel great.
Make some classic.
I mean, I'm not gonna be on BET or anything like that, but I feel good. And my kids will have 1,000 songs that no one's ever heard.
For real.
Wow, Dad was doing this?
I think a lot of it for old school cats too, like us, it's about self-expression, and it's more about that, and then a lot of kids today just want to get famous, or they want to be they want to get rich, or they want to their motivation is different than motivation for when we started. It was more to master the craft and be a part of a culture and be a part of elements and knowledge, and just live this different lifestyle that was that we thought was interesting.
I love that. Yeah. And if you're a hip hop guy, you fell in love with the elements.
Mm-hmm.
I can't graffiti write to save my life, but I fell in love with graffiti.
Oh yeah.
I can't break dance. I fell in love with the art of break dance, street dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I can rap. I can write. I've been on stage rapping. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it a little too much. But I'm better as a producer, and so that's where my strength is.
That's cool.
But when you fall in love with the elements, it's game over, man. You're in for life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can just go, yeah, I used to be in love with hip hop. When you're in love with hip hop, it's for life, man.
Definitely.
And I think, unfortunately, for people who are maybe older, that you fall in love with those elements, and the hip hop that is current today don't represent those elements for you. You listen to it and you go, okay, they're rapping. That's an element of hip hop, but nothing else is really represented.
Yeah, you're like, so, that's a dope bass line, but
and then you go, all right, the track was okay, but and I feel, and I don't know if that's just an age thing. You kids don't know music, blah blah blah, or if it's one of those
I've
things.
often wondered that too. I'm like, is it just me?
And I try not to be, and I have to stay current. I play and I like a lot of the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just lyrically, I just want more out of the lyrics. I'm just kind of like, give me something. Give me something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to appeal to me as an older person, but just kind of like, I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm learning anything about you from your lyrics, from your life or anything. I don't feel like I want to. You listen to LL Cool J, and you listen from his first album to his second album to his third album to his fourth album, and if you listen to the whole thing and you listen to those lyrics, there is a man growing across all of these albums, growing in skill, growing in how he delivers and his different flows and cadences and his skill lyrically, growing. But the things he talks about, he's growing over all of these albums.
As a person.
Yeah. You don't see that kind of growth anymore with artists, unfortunately, where you go, this is the beginning, and then you don't feel compelled to go, I want to listen to all these albums in order.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, and then, the starting point is the same as the end point. Like, there's no growth, Someone like Jay-Z, you could see a growth with him. Jay-Z's not really, I read Jay-Z's book, which I enjoyed. But as a hip-hop guy, he's not my flavor.
Yeah.
Where he's more kind of with the lyrical dexterity to make things sound cool. But I'm more of a KRS guy. I'm listening to you, let's transfer some knowledge.
Yeah.
What is your experience? What are you trying to say? And if you're just doing lyrical acrobats, then it's like I just ate a meal of air. You know, it's like I don't feel any nourishment from this.
For sure.
You know, and
where's the content?
Time is precious. And when you're young, you feel like you can be immortal. But even when I was younger, I'm like, if I'm going to listen to your album, don't waste my time, dude. Don't waste my time. Like, give me something lyrically that I could feel you. I could close my eyes and I can see, like I close my eyes, listen to a message, and I'm on the streets of New York. I've never been to New York.
Yeah, imagine like they create a picture.
But you feel it.
Yeah.
You taste it. You can smell it from how deep their Melly Mel's lyrics were, you know? And that to me is the quintessential hip hop experience. I see a breakdancer and I feel like in that moment of excitement, if I was to get on the floor, I could do the same moves as him. Even though I know I can't. I'm so hyped, I think I can.
Yeah.
You see an MC on stage, there's nothing, you want to be on stage too and say, throw your hands in the air. Yeah. You see a DJ killing it, you want nothing more than to be behind there and kill it. Yeah. That's that energy of hip hop that's so exciting, that still affects me today and still motivates me to do everything I do.
Hell yeah. That's so awesome, man.
I'm sorry, I could talk forever, man.
That's great, man.
Give me talk about stuff I'm excited about, I'd lose it.
Yeah,
man.
no, getting me excited.
Okay.
So we probably got to wrap up soon, but is there any like highlights or anything you want to like tell everybody about that like kind of like stood out in your memory over the years that just were like that's a pinnacle moment in hip hop history in Maui or Hawaii?
The scene was so good in Honolulu, and I didn't really get to participate in that, and I kind of wish I did. I had friends that were a part of it, Buzz One being one of them.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I was building my thing here, and I was really proud of the hip hop guys in Honolulu. That was just some really just amazing stuff. And when I would go up to concerts up there, because none of those concerts I was talking about came to Maui, man. That was all Honolulu. I got to hang out with some of those people and listen to them and talk with them. And I've met a lot of hip hop people. I met Phase 2 in Honolulu, right outside the Funk Pistol, which was a record store for a minute. Phase 2 was in there, and Buzz introduced me. He goes, "This is Phase 2," and I looked at him and I was like, "Are you Phase?" Like, there's no picture of Phase 2 at the time because he's a graffiti artist. And they're gonna hide their identity. But I'm like, really? Like, and then so we started just talking. I was like, "Tell me what it was like," because I wanted to know what it was like in New York at the beginning. When it wasn't a black thing, it wasn't a Hispanic thing, it wasn't a white thing, it was an everybody thing. And nobody said anything, Ooh, that's a white MC. Oh, that's a Hispanic. They were just an MC. They were just a DJ. You know what I mean? So I got to talk with, that was fantastic. I must have talked to him about 2 hours.
Wow.
Right outside this record store. It was so random. And then most recently, I met Africa Bambaataa when he performed here. And I took my Planet Rock record, the original one that I bought when I was 11, took it with me in hopes that he would sign it. And our friend Brendan, our mutual friend, was driving him around, was working for the promotion company, was hanging out with Africa Bambaataa. And I guess Brendan had said something about me to him and that I would probably come and have him sign my record and how much that record meant to me. And so I kind of like thought to myself, if I go and meet him, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to do. And I know he's going to be tired from after the set and all this, so I don't want to waste too much of his time. So I had my record in my hand, and I actually went up on stage and got to meet him. And before I could say anything, Brendan's all like, "That's the guy I was telling you about." And Africa Bambaataa looked at me, and he kind of lit up for a minute there. And he was all like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I had interviewed him on the radio a couple years ago when he came before, and I didn't expect him to remember it. But I was like, "I met you before, interview on the radio was fantastic. That was really great." And I put the record down in front of him, and I said, "But I just want to tell you that this record right here, this exact record, this song, changed my life, turned me on to hip-hop, made me a DJ, made me strive to this day to be a great DJ. And that career has led me to have a life in hip-hop, to spread the love of hip-hop to other people, and to feed my children who are out of the house or adults, to feed those children on the love of this record and have a life for myself without having a side job, just being a DJ. It's because of this record and because of you that I was able to do those things. Thank you.
Wow.
And he shook my hand, and I have a picture of it. And this sounds really corny, and this is a kind of a personal moment, but I'll share it with you on your show.
Shoot.
And as corny as it means, I don't care. We shook hands, and our hands were locked, and my thumb was over here on his hand, if you can see. And I felt his pulse. And in that moment, there was no sound in the room, and I'm feeling his pulse as we're shaking hands, and we're smiling to take a picture, and he's gripping my hand, and I'm feeling his pulse right there. And in that moment, I'm thinking, I just felt the heartbeat of the man that was responsible for launching who I am as a performer and a professional.
That's amazing.
And it was an amazing moment.
Monumental.
It was one of those like, wow, I can almost die happy at this point. Like that was just so amazing of a moment for me. So that was standout in terms of hip hop. Standout. And then the last one I'll share with you is that I met Egyptian Lover online. And he was in the studio to record his new album. And I'm chatting with him, so random and weird. And he was like, I'm thinking about offering people, DJs, a chance to do like their own dub plate version of Egypt.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, how much, and I'm like, dude, I would pay money for that. Are you kidding me? And I said, what are you talking about? And he's all like, yeah, I changed the lyrics and with the actual instrumental and put your name in the song. And I'm like, dude, sign me up, man. So I sent him some money, and he sent me a file, an email of Egypt, and he's rapping about me in the song. So it's all like DJ Blast, in the robot voice.
Wow. And
DJ Blast and to Egypt. So I got my own like
awesome.
dub plate version of it. I think he offered it to other DJs around the world too. But just and I was like, oh my God, like Egypt was such a great, song in that time period, and now I got my own dub plate with the man is saying my name in the. I was just like, what a cool idea, man! That's super fun. So yeah, I hope to have other moments. I mean, there's other people I need to meet. I need to meet Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet Crazy Legs. Mm-hmm. Ken Swift walked past me in Vegas, and I froze, and I was like, I think that's Ken Swift. And he was already like gone already. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Ken Swift! Like, it's too late. But yeah, there's people in the hip hop world that I would love to meet.
Yeah.
And just say like, thank you. That's really all I want to say.
Definitely.
Bro, like Prince was really
contribution.
Yeah, like Prince was really influential to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I was to ever meet Prince, I would just be like, thank you for Sign of the Times, his album from 1988. Yeah. Thank you for Sign of the Times.
He's around here sometimes.
And I heard he has a house out here. Yeah. He actually came into a club I played, Hoppa's. He came in and hung out for a little bit. And people were all grabbing me like, you got to go say hi to him. And I'm not going to mark out and just let him chill. Yeah. So I did like a set of like Erykah Badu and Maxwell and D'Angelo and just dropped this groovy set. Everybody's getting sexy on the floor. And I looked over and Prince was like, grooving. Oh, yeah. And I was like, that's all I need right now, man. That's perfect. That's I made Prince groove. Done.
Boom.
Done.
Bucket list check.
Yeah, man. Boom. Done. But yeah, I need to meet Grandmaster Flash. Like that. Yeah. When I heard the Adventures of Grandmaster Flash and the Wheels of Steel, I dissected that track. Like, how did he do this? What are these tracks he used? How did he do this? And that was like, that's how I figured out the art of mixing. It was just from that track.
Wow.
So I need and I read his book, fantastic book. And so if I could ever meet Grandmaster Flash, I'd love to shake his hand and just thank him and stuff. And
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's so awesome, man. I'm inspired by your enthusiasm. I love it.
You get me talking about hip hop. I get all excited, man. Like right now I want to go home and fire my studio up now.
That's what's up. Yeah. Maybe we'll get a sick beat out of you.
Yeah, man. I mean, for sure. If you want to work, I'm down, man. Cool. Name the time.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
You want to give any shout outs or anything?
Oh, gosh. You put me on the spot, man. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Buzz One. Shout out to Heavy Wild. Shout out to anybody that was a part of Chilltown back in the day. Too many names to mention. The old friends before Chilltown that would lug gear around with me. that helped me along the way before I formed Chilltown. Just my family for dealing with me and my craziness.
Yeah.
And people like you, man, keeping it alive. You know, it always astounds me when I meet hip hop people on Maui. Yeah. Because it felt like such a void of hip hop here. That when I meet people who are like got skills and stuff like that, it just like, it just warms my heart, man.
Breath of fresh air.
It's just like, so awesome, man. It's just like you guys are just keeping it alive here, and it's exciting, and it keeps me excited, and I'm really proud of you for doing this.
Thank you.
And building this amazing studio, and pushing that. From here to here, you know what I mean? Like you're pushing that love out so people could hear it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing, man. You're spreading this online. It's amazing, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk too much on your show.
Oh, yeah. We're glad to have you. Happy to have you. Definitely.
Look forward to part 2, part 3, part 4.
We'll get the history of hip hop.
Oh man, I could talk for days about this, but sure. Thank you.
Yeah, if it wasn't for people like you paving the way, and there wouldn't be this going on right now. So big ups to the OGs, the triple OGs.
3 times.
Shoots. That's it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Josh Sun. This has been Real Talk Hip Hop Hawaii, Inside Out Universe. Boom.